Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna talk about multi-dimensional array, which means that nested list. Okay, right after this explanation, right after these videos, we're gonna solve about the multi-dimensional arrays and nested list comprehensions. Right before we start solving this kind of questions, I want to talk about a little bit nested lists, and I believe that this is going to be so helpful before we start resolving the nested list questions. Let's talk a little bit and discuss together, and what we have is gonna be the learning what is nested list. Okay, so what is nested lists, guys? Nested lists are just lists inside of other lists, like that. This is basic nested list. So there is one list outside and there is another three lists inside, right? So we can call them the multi-dimensional list as well. Okay, and how we can slice the multi-dimensional list? So let's take a look and trying to slice out of some numbers from the nested list. And let me get 2 here in the first list, inner list. Let me get it. So when you get a slice from the nested list, you're gonna access the other list first. So the other list is so these are the 1, 2, 3. There is 3 lists in the nested list, so I'm gonna get in the 0 position, right? So let's write the 0 position, and right after that I'm gonna get the number 2. So what is number 2? 0, 1. So this is 1. The position is 1. So what is gonna, sorry, I didn't run that one. Okay, so what is it? The output is 2. We get the number 2. Let me get this time the 6 here. Okay, nested list. We're gonna slice the nested list. First of all, I have to get in the first position of the other loop, other list. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Okay, the 6 is in the position of the first list, so it starts from 0, 1, 2. Okay, so it's going to be 1, and what I'm gonna get in the 6, so we can say directly -1. It's going to be 6, or you can do like 0, 1, 2. You can directly write 2 as well. Okay, it's same thing. Let me copy and paste as a note here. It's -1. Basically slicing is like that, and right now I would like to show you how we can create a nested list with for loop. What about using loop and iterate through the nested list? Okay, let me write down here, and we can use again the nested list here. Okay guys, and let me write down how we can get all the numbers inside the nested list. For L in nested list. So what is representing? What is L here? The each list is representing here, right? It is 1, it is 0, 1, 2. So the L representing the each list, but we have to get in the inside of the inner list, right? So this is representing the inner list iteration. So we're gonna get in the inner list like for wall in L. So the L is inner list, and each value in the inner list is gonna be representing this variable. Okay, column and print wall. So everything is here, as you can see. Okay, and right after that I'm gonna show you how we can do this one in the nested list comprehension. Okay, so let me go down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna use the same nested list here. Let me copy and paste here. Okay, so enter. This time we're gonna create list comprehension. How we can create a list comprehension? Get the each value, print the each value with nested list comprehension. So we already learned how to use the list comprehension, right? So we're gonna open an empty bracket and write for L in range. It's not range, it's nested list, sorry, nested list. So for L in nested list, let me print out the L. What is L coming out? So it's coming out all the list, the nested list itself. So we didn't get each value, just one nested list, just one list comprehension. That's why we're gonna create another list inside the list comprehension to get each value out of the nested list. Okay, this time we need to open another empty bracket and we need to write down like the for val in this time is gonna be L, right? L. So this is the inner list inner list here. So L. This time, and the output is the output of the outer list and inner list. Let's print out the value and what? Oh, okay, sorry, this shouldn't be here. Okay, let's print. Okay, as you can see, we have the same output here, same output. Okay guys, this is the one way we use the nested list comprehension. I'm gonna talk about another question, another example that I want you to understand very well. Okay, so this time we're gonna produce two different value, and the output is gonna be show you which one is repeated and which one is inner list, which one is the outer list. That this time I'm gonna show you like for I in range is, let's say, 7 to 9. Okay, and right after that we're gonna print I. Let's print I. What the print I is, it's gonna be 7, 8. But we want to get out of two different output from this for loop, and let's say for I in range 1, 11. So right now we can print the I. It's going to be, let's say, J. So this time we're gonna find out let's say we use f function here, I times J here. I'm gonna explain right after I show you how to build this. And then curly bracket I times J. Okay, so let me close it. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, we forgot the indentation, don't forget it. Okay, as you can see, the other for loop is just repeated as long the inner loop. See, the 7 and 8 is repeated by end of the range of inner for loop. So the 7 is created by other loop and J is created by inner for loop. So the inner for loop is repeated as long as the other loop goes through. Okay, so this is other loop. The other loop is going to be repeated with the inner loop. This is the one of the example that I want to show you, and there is a couple of explanation that I would like to show you. The nested list comprehension and how we can do this with list comprehension. Okay, let's try to do the same process with the list comprehension. So this time we're gonna do the same process that we did already in our previous examples. So this time we're gonna use again the same process. There is an other for loop for I in range 7, 9. Okay, and then we're gonna create an inner bracket, and this time for j in range 1 through 11, and the output is gonna be end of all the time the nested list comprehension. When you write down here the output, it's going to be the output of both inner and outer list comprehension. Okay, A times J. I'm gonna show you one thing that I would like to take your attention here. The first thing, you can create the nested list or flat list with this process. Okay, this is the nested list comprehension, give you the nested list to you. Let me run this one. So as you can see, there is 2 brackets, and we use the bracket inside the nested list, and the output is a nested list. But you can create the same process. Hold on a second, let me create empty. Okay, so we can create the flat list as well using the same method. How? I'm gonna show you right away. Here you're gonna open an empty bracket. Like, again, we're gonna start with the for loop for I in range 7 to 9, and this time again for j in range 1 through 11. Okay, the output is gonna be I times j. Yeah, this is what we created here, I. This is what we created in j here. The difference between them, this is flat, this is a nested list comprehension. Let me run this one. As you can see, this gives you directly the flat output, and this one is giving you the nested list comprehensions and nested list output. Okay, so let me explain how this works. So this one is going to be the inner process. It is showing this one, and so this one is repeated as much as this one. So this one is created first, and the other one is repeated based on the other list. Let me show you how we can do this. Let me show you another example that it's going to be easy for you to understand. This time it's gonna be easier example. Let me get, let's say, board, and hold on a second. Here, okay, open empty bracket, and again I start all the time with the other for loop for L in for wall, let's say for wall in range 1 to 4. Okay, this is the other loop. Let's get in an inner loop inside, and this is going to be wall for wall in range 1 through 4. Okay, this is output, this is the inner loop. Okay, first of all, I just want to show you let's run the inner loop first here. This gives you 1, 2, 3, right? So when I add the other for loop outside the list here and add the list outside, this one is gonna be repeated as much the other loop. Let's run. See, this one is repeated 3 times because the for wall goes through 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. This is other. It shows the repetition of the inner list. Okay. So let me show you the another example which can be used in different games, and this is kinda that you can use with the if clause. So we're gonna again create the other loop. Let's say for wall in range 1, 2, 4. Okay, and right after that we're gonna create an inner loop, inner list comprehension, and this time, hold on a second, let me create. Okay, and all the time I start with the 4 for num in range 1 through 4. Yeah, it's close. And if you wanna use the if clause in the inner bracket, inner list, then you need, if clause contains the output result, then you need to put them in front of the for loop. Okay, let me show you how it works. Let's say if num mod 2, if num is not even, else, if you use else, by the way, and the output is gonna be 0, or sorry, it's gonna be O. Yeah, it's gonna be O, and or X. I will explain better right after I complete that. Okay, so here in the list comprehension, what it's asking for, let me run it first. Okay, so this one is the inner list comprehension, and this one is the outer list comprehension. This one, sorry, this one is repeated as much as for loop this one. Okay, so it's saying that for num in range 1 through 4, and run num over the range 1 through 4. If num is not even, print X, else print O. Okay, when you run it by itself, let me create, okay, let me run it by itself. We're gonna see that this one is just repeated one time, but we want to repeat this list 3 times, right? 3 times. Okay, how? We're gonna add for loop again, for while in range 1 through 4. Okay, here. So we repeated this process 3 times here, as you see. Okay, this is a list comprehension and nested list comprehension and nested list together. I show you, and all the questions right after these videos most likely related with multi-dimensional list and the list comprehensions. Thank you so much for watching. Just let me know if you have any question. Hope this example is so useful for you to get the idea of the multi-dimensional list, because I had really bad time when I was learning this part. It was so difficult at the beginning, but when you get used to solving the question, it's going to be easier in time. Just be confident. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day.